once again tracing the footsteps of the postcards of yesterday. To the tiny church of San Francisco. Built in 1771 as a place of worship for the salt workers of Ses Salinas. Where a statue now stands commemorating the salt history. With the small church still standing proud, overlooking the impressive mountain of white gold. And now set in a protected natural park which straddles the picturesque islands of Ibiza and Formentera. And spans over 14,000 marine hectares. The Balearic Islands of Ibiza, Mallorca, Menorca and Formentera have traded salt for centuries and still do today. Dispatching freight boats for salting fish in northern Europe, where the salted and preserved cod returns to the plates of the Mediterranean as the popular bacalao. During Lent and Meatless Fridays, a host of salt-preserved fish recipes were created and remain ever popular today. The salting process means the fish can be preserved for several months and contains 3 times more protein once it's been salted, making it the perfect onboard food to sustain the early Spanish explorers. As far back as 540 BC, the Phoenicians, Carthaginians and the Romans knew the importance of the Balearic white gold as a method of trade and currency. With the Romans developing the word salary, as their foot soldiers were paid partly in salt. The word salad also derives from Roman times, where they started salting their leafy greens and vegetables. Salting foods is still popular today. And was vital pre-refrigeration. Visiting Ses Salinas Natural Park to see the traditional methods for harvesting salt that are still used today. With seawater being allowed to naturally fill the salt pans and channeled the same way today as the Carthaginians devised. And the evaporation process begins, also allowing the prime fleur de sal to be hand collected from the top of the pans, being the chef's favourite for end of cooking seasoning. Fleur de sal being the purest form of salt with over 80 minerals. Today also sees a thriving industry for table salts and gifts and a host of island products from candles to chocolate. Opened in 2016, the visitor centre next to the San Francisco Church hosts a wealth of history and information and is well worth a visit. Ibiza is also home to the annual Salt Festival, ensuring future generations don't lose sight of the important history of salt. The local Ibiza people are still entitled to go and collect their bag of salt per household each year. The tiny village of Sacanal, a few miles from the San Francisco church, used to house up to 1,000 salineras and still has many of the buildings and mechanisms from salt production through the ages. Salinas Park boasts miles of hiking trails and hosts regular walking groups all year round. And is a haven for wildlife. Including the year-round resident flamingos. As with a lot of the islands, it's easy to see where the old and new meet. With the music of today nestled within 3,000 hectares of flatlands that makes up Salinas Park. The stunning beaches of Salinas and Escavallette neighbour the salt areas. With guided pathways to further protect the natural habitat. Several local hostelries are nestled within the park. And of course, salt-baked fish is on most of the menus. Is this how the island of Ibiza got her name?